it in the hood with it. Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content Gun is kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel and it's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled and I'm even more so appreciative. So thank you, man. I couldn't do it without you. I just seen a video that Dubs posted a little while ago, and I actually seen a video yesterday, or I was, people told me about the video in the live, so I went and watched it by Renegade Media. Now I have to say this, I've been asked a lot of questions about Renegade Media. Okay, so let me address everything right here first and foremost, so that way you know my feelings towards Jay Hands. I have no issues with him whatsoever. If anything, we were very cordial in the past. We had phone conversations. Everything was good when he first started his channel. He asked for my advice on a few things. I gave him a quick rundown. But one of the things I also told him was, in YouTube, there's some things that you should and you shouldn't speak on. Just everyone's a man. Everyone can say and do whatever the hell they want to do. But, when you're dealing with gangs, prison organizations, cartels, anything like that, to be on the safe side, man, there's just some things that are better left unspoken. You got to have respect for these organizations and for these groups. And that's just my take on it. It's how I feel, right? And I mentioned it to him and he took it and he said, you're right. And then he continued to do his thing, his channel, the way he wants to do it. And I do mine's the way I want to do it. And that's just what it is. So when I'm asked constantly about what do I think about his channel and what do I think about some of the things he puts out there, to each their own is what I'm going to say. Do I think it's a good look or a bad look? I have really I don't really care, to be honest with you guys. And the reason I say it like that is because I've already spoke my piece on it, man. I've already told the individual directly, hey, you make your bed, you lie in it, and it is what it is, right? But anyways, I seen a video that he put out about an incident that took place on Lancaster, or in Lancaster prison, Lancaster, which was in the visiting room. And I said, wow, isn't that a unicorn incident? Because never in all my time of being locked up, incarcerated from YA all the way to prisons in different states, have I ever seen this type or heard of this type of incident where a woman was slashed in her face by, I guess, her man, her boyfriend, her husband, or whoever he was to her. Now, hearing about an incident like that kind of boggled my mind and tripped me out. And I'll give you a few reasons why. And again, Renegade Media, he put it out, however he got his info is how he got it. People bring you things when you're a content creator, so you can put out there. So however he got his information, it wasn't necessarily the story, but was more so the message behind it that kind of tripped me out. And I'm going to explain why. First of all, an incident like that happening is any type of domestic violence incident ain't a good look. For a man to assault a woman or vice versa, it's just not good. You got to pride yourself as a man on being able to hold your ground, hold it in. She might make you very mad, man, but I think the way to win in that situation is stay humbled, relaxed, and respect the situation and understand that you're going to lose a lot more by acting out of character, right? But there are some men that can't refrain from violence, okay? There's some people, men, women, that have that I don't care, anybody can get it attitude. That's the wrong attitude to have. It sounds good saying it, everybody killer, everybody can get it, right? But usually the people hollering that aren't the ones doing that, right? So we've heard it before, but to see it actually play out and unfold in front of you and in a place like the visiting room, wow, right? I can only wonder how that looked that day. In the visiting room, it's all about respect. And I could take you all the way back to YA and Fred C. Nellis, right? Being Norteños, we were on a lot of different compas, meaning a lot of different buildings, but we weren't on every building. So some of the Southsiders that wanted to get at us, wanted to, catch that fade or wanted to fucking catch us slipping, their only opportunity was at church or at visiting or on the way to chow or if we intersected each other within this institution. There was a lot of Southsiders that didn't like Norteños and wanted to get at us, But we never came into close proximity because they were on compas like Washington or Tyler or these different compas where norteños were not present. And it wasn't that they didn't put norteños there because there was a bigger threat. Because I was actually on the compa Madison where the biggest threat was, right? I think it was more so they just didn't send us there. It was all up to wherever, administration sent us. And so these guys on these different compas, we were hearing in the school areas, man, if you see a guy from Washington, if you see a guy from the compa Tyler or whatever, they're going to try to get with your program. So we were always on the lookout, like if you see Southsiders from here, know that they want to get at you, get at them first. But visiting, there was an understanding there, an unspoken understanding that because families and children were present, any type of fucking animosity or assaultive behavior, anything like that was off the table, off limits. See, there's a code of conduct when you're in prison, the youth authority, anywhere. No one likes a jailhouse thief. No one likes a jailhouse snitch. No one likes someone who talks to the canine too much and is considered a brown noser. You're automatically going to get a jacket put on you. You're too familiar with the canine. Your own people are going to pull you to the side. It's called over familiarity. I think that's the way you say it. With the canine. You're fucking talking to him too much, bro. Damn, are you trying to take his sister out for a date? Or, what's going on here, right? Now, we understand if you're trying to knock a placa, get him to bring something in, that's a whole different story. You're trying to work that, but you got to let your homeboys know what angle you're working, right? You can't just be over there laughing and playing and say, hey, look at me, touch me there. Can I hold you there, right? This ain't a fucking Wes Watson story. This is real life, right? So, in visiting, the code of conduct was, the unspoken rule was, don't get off right there. Wait till the familias leave. And then if you have an issue, handle your business. But a lot of guys didn't want to fuck off their visits. See, visits are sacred in prison. Very sacred. Okay? Some of them guys that are lifers, they have a strong bond and a relationship with their family. And it's very few that do. But those that do, man, hey, I used to look at it from a distance because I didn't get as much visitas as other people did. There's some guys there, old ladies there every weekend. Boom, boom, boom. She's there, right? Then there's some of us that we got to visit maybe every 6 months or every year, and we were very happy to get it. So imagine going to visiting, you've waited a whole year for your family to come visit you, and some J-Cat fucks it off by slicing his old lady in front of you and whacking her in front of the children, in front of everyone. There's going to be some very unhappy individuals. One, you fucked up visiting. Two, you traumatized the children. You traumatized the visitors. I know this, if my family sees someone get slashed right in front of them, they're not used to that shit, right? If they see someone get slashed right in front of them, they're not going to come see me no more. It's too dangerous. Then they're going to worry about what's going on with me. If some man could easily slash his old lady, damn, what could happen in prison? Now, everybody knows in prison it's a dangerous situation. Everybody knows that on the streets, domestic issues happen every day. In fact, there's somebody getting beat up right now, probably as I'm making this video. But one thing I can tell you is for sure, for it to happen in a visiting room, this guy who did this shit had to be on some medication. He was a J-Cat, right? Straight up. Because he basically signed his death sentence. Whoever was in the visiting that day, and there's every different race in there. And believe me, remember I tell you, California prison system is all drawn upon racial lines, meaning everybody is split up according to gang and ethnicity. Blacks roll with blacks, whites with whites, Mexicans with Mexicans, woods with coffee, brother, right? That's just how it is. Okay, so if you have what is your common enemy, okay, you have a white over here and he's got his family. Here's two things you don't do at visiting. This is common courtesy. Okay, you don't stare at their visitors. You don't make remarks or talk loud or cuss in front of their visitors. You don't disrespect their family. Not because they're your enemy and you're trying to be nice or you're scared. It's just because as a man, that's what you don't do. You don't bring the spotlight on you because you're a reflection of your people. And that shit's going to get back to the yard. Hey, this guy was over here being loud. He was staring at the other guy's old lady or his sister or whatever. You just don't do that. You can catch a little glance though. If she got ass like that. But you don't sit there and lock on and stare, man. Not only is that weirdo activity, that's disrespectful to the highest degree. And nobody, I repeat, nobody in that yard, doesn't matter what gang, what group you're from, is going to condone some J-Cat at visiting, sexually harassing or eye fucking or doing any of that weird shit to someone else's visitors, right? They're not going to It's not going to be condoned. You're arguing with your old lady or whatever. You're getting a little aggressive. Vatos are going to give you that look like, hey, bro, be a man. You know, take that one on the chin, homie. Don't let her get you out of character, because if she gets you out of character and you fuck my visit off, guess what, Holmes? I'm going to fuck your life off on that yard. So if that guy did that on Lancaster and slashed his girl right in front of everyone, children, the cops, everybody, does he get a brownie point for that? Is he hardcore? No. That's a cowardice act. And best believe it affected everyone in there. And now people are feeling some type of way. So that guy's going to get it on that yard. Now, I know Lancaster, from what I heard, there are some active yards and there's also some SNY yards. So I'm pretty sure, and I'm not 100% on this. Again, Renegade Media is the one that released the actual video. So he would know more so than I would. I'm just going based upon, this is my reaction based upon his video and Dub's video. And my take on it. You know, what would happen? I know this. That guy's immediately going to get took into the hole. His lady's going to catch medical care. He's probably going to be charged with an assault, an attempted murder, or whatever, depending upon how bad it was, right? And if he was active, his people are going to be gotten at real quick. You know, because this is what could happen. It could be a situation where now because he performed that act, now because he did that, you know, now you brought the spotlight on visiting. Now administration, and they look for any reason to take away any incentive that an inmate gets, right? Any incentive. What I mean by incentive, canteen, packages, phone calls, anything that is outside of what you're mandated on getting. Because it's not mandatory you get commissary. It's not mandatory you get packages. It's not even fucking mandatory you get visits. The only thing that's mandatory is you live, you eat, you shit, and you die. That's the only thing mandatory in prison. Everything else is an incentive. And best believe when you fuck up, they start taking not only your incentives, but everybody's incentives. And an incident like that could cause them, the administration, to really sit down. And now they have a reason and justification to say, guess what? These guys don't know how to act. He's acting like an animal. This is what they do to women. This is what they do to visitors. And it makes all these guys look bad. And it puts a stereotype on the type of individuals that are locked up, that everybody does this all the time. And I've never heard of it happening ever in my life. This is the first incident of that kind that I've ever heard of happening. You know, I've heard of chicks slapping their old man, guys grabbing them on their titty hard or whatever. But as far as literally pulling out a piece and slashing his chick, that's wild, right? But the administration could sit down, rethink it, and say, you know what, we're going to slam everybody behind glass. You're not going to be able to touch your visitors. And that right there will fuck a lot of feelings off. There's a lot of guys, man, that relationship that they have with their significant other or their family on the streets, their children. A lot of these guys are lifers and they're raising their kids behind bars. Okay? And that little bit of interaction and holding their kid and being close to them, or their old lady, that kiss, that last kiss before they leave visiting, that first hug, that means the world to them. Okay? That's the only thing they have in this world. That and pictures and letters. You take those three things from someone and there's dead bodies all over the place. True stories, right? You don't mess with the man's visiting. So, or his food. So for an incident like that to take place, okay. But don't get it twisted, okay? I seen the narrative that Jay Hans was putting out there. And I was kind of bewildered, I'll say it, right? Because again, remember, I have no issues with this guy. His content is his content, man. I commend him on his push and what he's doing. He's in his lane doing his thing, right? No issues. But I will say that some of the rhetoric that he was speaking or spitting in his message, I don't agree with, right? And some of that message was that, you know, these guys have too much time in their hands and you know, like basically like this is commonplace. Like this is what they do. They're like, prisoners are very aggressive and they just gonna smash on women and all guys are capable of doing this. Yes, all guys are capable of doing that. Not every guy will. It's not in their DNA, their makeup. And most men that are real men don't think about harming a woman. They might say, man, I want to slap the shit out of this chick, but they're not going to act upon it. It's just a fleeting thought, right? So to put out that narrative, like, you know, it scares people. And not only does it scare people, you know, these women, where maybe they don't want to visit their old man. I know, like I said, man, if my family was in that visiting room when some shit like that happened, they would never come see me again. They'd be like, hell no, I got blood all over my cashmere. I'm good. You fucked my whole Louis Vuitton off. Now I'm getting blamed for shit that I didn't even know about, right? So I would be very upset and angry. That means my people would be very upset. And if it's your people that did it, I mean, it makes you look bad. You know, again, I believe that this was probably done on an SNY yard because I cannot ever in my life see an active guy doing this. Not because he's different than, say, an SNY guy, that there's a different DNA or makeup. It's because the repercussions would be so swift and so violent and vicious, not only for him, but for his whole carro. That's why, okay? They're not going to just take it out on the one guy. Because they can't get to him, they're going to be set tripping for reals, man, on his whole group. And it could be an ugly situation, especially when you have every different group coming at you. I mean, it gets ugly fast, right? So, you know, when I seen J-Hands release that video, I was kind of tripping because I've never seen nothing like that happen, you know? And I was like, this has to be a unicorn incident. This has to be once in a lifetime. And I've done a lot of time incarcerated. I got 19 years total in. And I think one time, I will tell you about an incident I seen, well, twice. You know, when I was in the youth authority one time, there was a Southsider that got there. And what had happened was one of his homeboys from his neighborhood had got caught stealing out of somebody's locker, right? And he got smashed on the compa. And it was a norteño that put him on blast. It was one of the homies that said, hey, you know what? He's seen him stealing. He put him on blast. Southsider said, gracias. They handled their business. This dude went to the lockup building. Well, one of his homeboys from his hood came. And so he was mad at the homeboy that I guess he felt snitched on his homeboy. But really it was, you can call it snitching if you want. It was kind of just like, hey, Holmes, that was the Walter that was stealing people's shit. No one likes a jailhouse thief, right? Anyways, he felt some type of way on a personal tip. We were all at visiting. Visiting ended. He pulled out a piece and tried to get at the homeboy. The homeboy took it from him and did something bad to him, right? Now, look, that's a situation where, yes, it did happen in the visiting room, but all the visitors were gone. This guy had enough respect and enough integrity and enough understanding to let everyone get up out of there, then handle his business. Okay, one other incident was I was at visiting. I was in close proximity. My sister had came to see me. I was in close proximity to a rapper, right? He was a rapper. And this blood, the sangre was there with this old lady, fine ass chick too, right? I wasn't looking, I mean, I looked once, right? But I wasn't looking like that. So I'm having my conversation. I can hear their conversation. They're very close. And she's asking him, her old man, if that was the rapper. And he's like, yeah, that's him. And she was like starstruck. She was feeling some type of way. So she kept staring at him, right? And you could see her old man was getting more agitated. I could tell by the way he was moving, his mannerisms, he was getting upset. Because his old lady was being blatant. She was staring a hole through this dude's chorra, right? And so, what did he do? He didn't beat up on his old lady or slash her, none of that. He got at the dude that she was staring at and felt some type of way and got off on him after visiting. So to see an incident or hear about an incident like this happening, that's some 5150 JCAT shit. Some EOP shit, right? Now again, am I saying it didn't happen? No. You know, if Renegade said it happens, I'm sure his information is absolutely correct, and it did. It's just a wild incident, man, to think that, and that shit is not commonplace. Like I said, don't get it misconstrued and think that it happens all the time. These guys are just laying in their cells waiting to slash their old ladies, because that's not what it is, man. That's a very limited move right there. Just doesn't happen, right? I just kind of didn't condone or like the way that Renegade Media was putting out there, like, these guys have too much time on their hands. These guys, you know, it's always like a slander thing where it's like, look, a guy's already locked up in prison with very limited incentive, very limited, you know, things that make you feel alive. And when you're putting out videos, you have to do it of an understanding, yes, you might have done time. Just like me, I was in prison in the past. Things have changed drastically a lot since I was locked up. You know, I mean, even little things like now they're getting tablets and you know, canteen, you could spend more, and they're having more food sales and just different things, right? And I know people hear that, oh shit, they're living comfortable in there. It's not as comfortable as you may think. Yes, they get to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken every 4 months, but they also could almost get stabbed every single day. So, I mean, give these vatos their chicken. But when you have the content creators and myself, we're in the prison genre. Not that I consider myself the prison genre, but that's the box that I'm put into because I speak on a lot of prison issues. I would say that I understand what these guys are going through, and I don't want to do anything or say anything that's going to hinder their progress and limit their fucking get down, you know? So things like this, putting videos out there or speaking on situations, yes, it's drama. It's an intense situation. Wow, we want to hear about it. But at the same time, we don't want to spin that narrative like this is common or it happens all the time or that's what prisoners, their makeup is and that's just what they do, because that's furthest from the truth. There's a lot of respect, a lot of pride, yet a lot of respect, and that's the get down in prison. Okay, respect is the key word in there. There's a lot of guys, doesn't matter if it's your enemy, man, they'll share, break bread in the whole. There's a lot more respect than you think there is, right? And most guys understand that visiting is sacred, very sacred, and they're just not going to go out of their way to fuck it off. So I believe this was an isolated incident with a J-Cat that decided to do what he did for whatever reason it was, you know, whether his lady was cheating on him, talked shit to him. Obviously, it was pre-planned because he took the piece out there, right? It's unfortunate that he felt he had to do that to a woman, but that's the route he went, right? He'll never be able to walk a yard again. Never. Because he traumatized other people's families. If this man is allowed to walk a yard comfortably after an incident like that, wow, then I guess CDC has changed and I really don't want to go back, right? Anyways, that's my take on it. Again, for those of you that are going to go run to J Hands and be like, hey, Gun's talking shit about you, I'm not. I'm just uncut, raw, no added preservatives, how I feel. That's my reaction on the video. I respect his get down and what he's got going on. I just didn't agree with it, right? I just didn't agree with some of the narrative. You know, I'm not about talking shit about the people that are locked up. I'm about helping them to see the error of their ways, helping these youth and these kids to not go to prison and to see how bad it really fucking is. And I'm not trying to scare people into not going. I'm just trying to give them the realities into why you don't want to go. I'm not saying, oh, because hey, they're going to slash you at visiting. Nah, that's not what's going to happen. You're not going to get slashed at visiting. Go visit your loved ones. Go love on them, right? They need that. You need that. You know, my thing is, hey, wouldn't you like your loved one to be outside on the streets? Bam, let's avoid prison, the whole situation in the first place. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about respect. I respect all content creators and their views on things. I'm going to have mine, though, and I hope that it's respected. This is the Gun. Bang, bang.